Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. Today we've got a bunch of big topics and one that's come out of the woodwork throughout absolutely out of nowhere. So let's get into it, but before, we are still going for that 100 likes per video target, so please hit that button, I'd really appreciate it. For Richard Romano with an update saying Chelsea are pushing to hijack Marc Cucurella deal. Direct talk today with Brighton, Levi Colwill could be part of the negotiation. Personal terms negotiation in the next hours, Man City will not improve their last bid, 40 million rejected by Brighton. So Man City aren't going to move on this apparently. 40 million and that's it, they're not moving, and Brighton have said, alright sweet, we're keeping him then. So I don't think Man City are a competition unless Chelsea are going to, you know, move forward, and then Man City last second get like, you know, a bit angsty and go, alright fine, we'll pay the 50 million. This could be negotiation tactics. But this is an interesting sign. So Marc Cucurella, what do you get from him as a player? Obviously a left back. So you'd think, oh, well, Chilwell plays there, right? So I'd understand some people having some, you know, second thoughts on this one. But we saw what happened last year when we lost Chilwell, and then James towards the second half of the season, I think it was a big problem, and we dropped off massively. You look at teams like City, they've got that depth. 2 players in every position that you'd be comfortable at playing. So Marc Cucurella joining. One is a good backup to Chilwell. Could play left centre back. I don't think it's ideal. I don't think he's incredibly physical. He's not the tallest, but I think could do a job there. And definitely would be a good ball playing centre back to play on that left side. The downside to this, Levi Colwill could be part of the negotiations. Now we will have an update on that in a second, but if this is a permanent transfer, I really don't want to do it. As much as I rate Marc Cucurella, I think if you add however much extra it would need to be to remove Colwill from this, I think Chelsea should be paying that. It also is, you know, another player that if we're going to play him centrally on the left side of that back three is a problem for Colwill. You know, that's another player that'll be in his pathway. Not that we need to, you know, pander to the youth, but we do need to make sure that there is a pathway to the first team. Otherwise, we will never get players like Mason Mount, Trevor Chalobah, Reece James. We'll never get these kind of guys again. So it's interesting. The next tweet from Sky Sports News saying Chelsea are ready to pay the asking price of 50 million. So this is sort of implying, as it seems, Levi Colwill not involved. Chelsea ready to pay it. So we're open to paying it. We're going to do it. And it's just going to be formalities left to go. So that's a very exciting transfer. You know, it's come out of nowhere. Chelsea are coming quick and got it done. And then we have, it's understood that Brighton could be tempted by a deal for Marc Cucurella that includes highly rated Levi Colwill moving in the opposite direction. And I have seen some other reports as well that say the Levi Colwill going in the other direction could be a loan. If that's the case, I'm all for it, because you know, Levi Colwill going to Brighton for a year would be fine. That'd be solid. But if it's a permanent thing, I'm really not up for it. So it's an interesting one. Chelsea, he definitely strengthens our squad. I think that's clear. Assuming, you know, Marcos Alonso goes, we haven't really got, you got like Emerson you could play on the left, but for, you know, top quality Prem players, we'd have Ben Chilwell. That's pretty much it. So if we bring in Cucurella, I think that's a good addition to the squad. If we're playing him in a back, you know, as part of the back three, I'm a little worried about that. But as a player that's going to rotate with Ben Chilwell still not seemingly fit. He hasn't featured much in pre-season. So this is also one that will make sure that we have a strong start to the season. So an interesting one. But we'll move on to the next topic. Next up, we have an update from Matt Law saying Wesley Fofana believes he has a gentleman's agreement that Leicester will listen to fair bids for him. Now, what a fair bid, you know, is, we don't know. He obviously has a value on his name, on his head, that he thinks is, you know, about right, and Leicester are going to have one that is probably higher than that. But they have a gentleman's agreement that they will consider any bid that comes in for him that's around the right region. Some people saying about 80 million. I think that's crazy. I think, you know, I don't think Wesley Fofana would be considering that a fair price. I think if there was something in the high 60s, low 70s, I think that's maybe a spot Chelsea could find success in, but we'll have to wait and see. But it's a good sign that, you know, even he seems to have been pushing this deal a little bit in the background, saying like, look, if they hit the right numbers, I'm going, and that's a good sign for Chelsea. Ben Jacobs then with an update saying bit more intel on Fofana. Chelsea and Leicester close to 20 million apart in initial valuation. Chelsea are prepared to go up further talks this week. PSG also inquired, they value him at about 55 million all in, won't be enough or even close. So PSG aren't going to be a competition in this. about 20 million apart from the initial sort of bid from Chelsea. So that's going to have to go up. It's going to have to be another 10 to 15 would be my guess. I don't think 10 will be enough extra on that. But as I say, Chelsea are prepared to go up. You know, this was a low ball just to see what they say. And we'll try and creep it up this week. So by the end of the week, who knows? Maybe someone like Fofana's over the line. Of course, I'll keep you guys up to date with that. Then we have an update from Di Marzio saying RB Leipzig work to sign Timo Werner on a permanent transfer. Other clubs interested would prefer a loan, such as Juventus. So this is a big one for me. If Timo Werner goes on a permanent, that is a perfect transfer for Chelsea. We're not going to get back what we paid for him, I wouldn't think. But if we can get a decent fee out of it, it's another attacker off the books, and it frees up wages and space in the squad to be able to, you know, bring in someone that's definitely going to be more prolific than Timo Werner. So as much as I like the guy, this is a smart move for Chelsea, and it's good to see RB Leipzig looking for a permanent one, not a loan, because that's a short-term fix and just delays the inevitable, really. So I'm very happy on this one. Then we have an update from the Gazzetta, which is a Italian publication, saying Dumfries, Big British, on the alert, this is translated, so please forgive it. Inter asks for 50 million. Here's the plan in case of farewell. So this is of course about Denzel Dumfries, and basically 50 million, that's in euros, and that is the asking price now being set for Dumfries. So that works out to about 41 million pounds. So it's going to be an expensive one, but this is another one. It's similar to the Cucurella one, right? Like, sure, we've got Reece James that can play on that side, but we saw what happened when he dropped off last season and he was injured. So with this, it's an expensive one for, you know, what we'd consider a backup, but with squad rotation, playing, you know, 50-60 games a year, Chelsea need this. So I back this one. I think he'd be a very good signing. Him and Cucurella as, you know, backup options. That's brilliant stuff from Chelsea. And then we have an update from Transfer Zone saying Barcelona hope to register the new signings and complete deals for Azpilicueta and Marc Alonso after activating the third lever. Now, I'm sick of talking about this club, but this is more signals that they're waiting for basically more money to come in, and then they can commit to buying Azpilicueta, who currently they're massively lowballing for apparently. Marc Alonso, I haven't really heard many talks of, you know, the figure involved there, but by the sounds of it, he is going to be going, which means we need someone like Cucurella in, and Azpi going, of course, he can play on the right, so Denzel Dumfries would be a replacement there, although I'm not too sure on his capability of playing a centre-back. You know, Azpi can be anywhere across that back line really, right? But we'll see how it goes. But Chelsea got their replacements lined up, it seems, even though they're going to be slightly expensive. But we're going to have to wait for Barcelona to get their money in before it happens. Well, that's going to be the end of the video, guys. If you did enjoy, leave a like on it, hit subscribe and the notification bell, and you'll never miss a future video. Remember that like target. We're going for 100 every video, so I'd really appreciate that from you guys. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.